Hey, welcome to the Sunday preview for this Sunday, which is Palm Sunday. We begin Holy Week. It's the most solemn week of the year. So I thought today, instead of reading the entire Passion, which would take all our time and then some, there's an initial gospel at the beginning of the procession of the Mass on Palm Sunday. And it's the entrance of Jesus into Jerusalem. I thought maybe we'd reflect on that first gospel today. And from St. John, chapter 12. When the great crowd had come to the feast and heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, they took out palm branches and went out to meet him and cried out, "Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel." Jesus found an ass and sat upon it, as it is written, "Fear no more, O daughter Sion, see your king comes, seated on an ass's colt." His disciples did not understand this at first, but when Jesus had been glorified, they remembered that these things were written about him and that they had done this for him. The gospel of the Lord. So we have this scene, this triumphant scene that we're all familiar with, of Jesus entering into Jerusalem, the holy city, and coming to take possession of his place. And he's welcomed by all the people. And there's an enthusiasm. They lay down the palm branches and their cloaks in front of him. They cry out, "Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord." And it evokes that prophecy from the Old Testament. "Fear no more, O daughter of Sion. Your king comes seated on an ass's colt." And the king is coming into his city. This is the moment of triumph, and all the people are with Jesus. One thing we going to keep in our hearts throughout Holy Week is how from that moment, which was a celebratory moment on Palm Sunday, by Friday everything's turned against Jesus and he's crucified, and those crowds aren't there for him anymore. And I think it tells us something about what our heart ought to feel right now, is to open and to welcome Christ as our King and let him come into our city. So often we close off Christ from entering into our hearts or into our public life or into our institutions, our government, into our society, our culture. And Pope John Paul II used to say all the time, "Open the doors for Christ. Open wide the doors. Do not be afraid." And then we as a people and as a culture, we're often afraid to let that king come. We're afraid of that rule of that king. And for some reason, we prefer the rule of all the human despots and dictators who impose so much on us. And we resist the rule of the good king, Jesus Christ. And so as we start Holy Week, let's make that prayer. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord, the true King. Let him into our hearts. Let him into our lives, into our cities.